Well, welcome back for the North Ridgeville City Schools Board of Education agenda for Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. Everybody can please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Grigsby. Here. Mrs. McCarthy.
Here.
Mrs. Saxon.
Here.
Mr. Butler.
Here. Finalization of the agenda. Is there anything to be added or removed?
The agenda is fine, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Right into the superintendent's and treasurer reports.
Okay, excellent. I just have a quick welcome back to everybody. Congratulations to President Baca and Vice President McCarthy. We are looking forward to the semester ending next Thursday. Came very quickly. And coupled with that, as we return from break, we are really looking forward to jumpstarting our construction process. And that will begin next Friday with some tours for our high school staff and others throughout the district who are excited to go and take a tour of some additional buildings and also transportation center. From there, we are looking to begin scheduler meetings with our architect who was formally approved at the last board meeting. And so we are just looking forward to what the semester brings and all the excitement. So just wanted to update you. We'll continue to keep you updated.
So, thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the tax budget hearing item on the agenda. And in front of you, you should have the 24-25 tax budget. And this is the first step in the planning and preparation of the district's budget. It works in conjunction with the 5-year forecast and the appropriation measure that is approved by the Board of Education. This does consider all fund types versus the 5-year forecast where we only look at the general fund, but the tax budget considers all of our different fund types over the course of 1 year. And this is a requirement under Ohio Revised Code that the Board of Education approve the tax budget no later than January 15th of each calendar year. This helps to align the district's finances and plans on a fiscal year basis and with the timing of tax collections and whatnot. But the process goes with the tax budget. Once it's approved by the board, it goes to the county budget commission for review and approval. And then once it is approved by the budget commission, the district is issued what they call a certificate of estimated resources. And that's going to be our original certificate of estimated resources. And it's that certificate that governs the maximum amount that we'll have available for spending and that we kind of use as a basis for designing the budget for next year. Now, when I close the fiscal year, we will have actual numbers and then that will replace these estimates. And so then we'll get an amendment to our original certificate at that point. And that will be the beginning of the next fiscal year starting July 1. Like I said, it is an important process that helps ensure that we're able to appropriate amounts of spending in order to meet the operational needs of the district. All of the fund types that you see here on the 24-25 tax budget are projected to have positive ending fund balances by the end of the next fiscal year. Something different for this year that I'd like to point out is that we will begin 24-25 budget year with a much higher than normal beginning balance or an unencumbered balance, if you will. And that will be a direct result of the anticipated bond issuance, the selling of bonds for the upcoming construction project. So here we have total estimated revenue being comprised of 70% tax revenue, 19% state revenue, and 11% other revenue. Expenditures making up about 87% of the total estimated budget, leaving a total estimated ending fund balance of approximately 13%, which equates to 26.6 million across all fund types by the end of next fiscal year. Again, that that estimated ending balance will be highly dependent on the timing of construction and those specific drawdowns or installments required to fuel that project. But overall, the tax budget is sound. It satisfies all the different areas to sustain operations across the district. And it puts us in a good position as we start looking ahead, and planning for our next budgeting cycle. So with that, that concludes what I have for the tax budget review. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much.
Sure, thank
Are there any announcements this evening? Here's an opportunity for hearing of the public normally. There's nobody in attendance this evening, so we'll move right into the consent agenda. Section education report.
Next, we have one item under the education report. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2024-2025 high school program of studies. This will provide for the state required graduation seals. This is the first reading for this item. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at the January 16th regular meeting.
Thank you. Communications report, Mr. Grigsby.
It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following gifts with appreciation. A donation of $100 was donated by Patty DeCara to Mr. Bopolsky's classroom for the purpose of Adopt a Family program. $50 was donated by Ripco Studio to the RHTA triathlon event. $100 was donated by Baker Osinski and Singer Funeral Home to the RHTA triathlon event. $1,266 was donated by the North Ridgeville Choir Boosters to the high school choir program. $3,000 was donated by the North Ridgeville VFW to go toward the students' overdrawn lunch. Donation of $300 was donated by North Ridgeville Rotary Club to the NRHS choir program. $300 was donated by the North Ridgeville Garden Club to the NRHS choir program. Listed miscellaneous items, which include motor oil, brake fluid, tire tubes, latex gloves, and other miscellaneous items, were donated by Mel and Janet Hanachek to the maintenance, transportation, and high school industrial technology classes. And as usual, we thank our community for the tremendous support of our schools and students.
Thank you very much. Building and operations report. We have one item to consider under the buildings and operations report that is recommended to approve the amended contract for the purchase and installation of modular classrooms at Liberty Elementary School. This is the first reading for this item. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at the January 16th meeting. Human resources report, Mr. Grigsby.
Sir, we have a number of items in the human resources report. We have 9 NREA supplemental contracts, 12 non-NREA supplemental contracts, 6 unpaid volunteer recognitions, and 1 certified staff adjustment. This is the first reading for these items. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at the January 16th regular meeting. This concludes the human resource report.
Thank you very much. Finance report, Ms. McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Vaca. The item for consideration under the finance report is our annual tax budget as just presented by Mr. Cassini. Ohio Revised Code mandates the adoption of the tax budget no later than January 15th of each year for the succeeding fiscal year. This is the initial step in district-wide budgeting and planning initiatives. The tax budget is submitted to the county auditor and serves as the basis for the certificate of estimated resources for the next fiscal year. The motion to approve the finance report in one reading.
Second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon.
Yes.
Okay, buildings and operations. We have one item to consider in board business under the buildings and operation report. This is a recommendation to approve a resolution of urgent necessity for the purchase and installation of partition wall at Liberty School. I move to approve the buildings and operations report in one reading.
Second.
Moved by myself, second by Mr. Grigsby. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Vaca,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon.
Yes.
Human resources report, Mr. Grigsby.
We have a few more items to consider under the human resources report. 1 hourly home instructor contract, 1 support staff resignation. I move to approve the human resources report in one reading.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Grigsby, second by Ms. Saxon. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Any with you, Mr. Grigsby?
I think I'll say it again. We have one more item to consider under the Human Resources Report. 2 unpaid volunteer recognitions, and I move to approve the Human Resources Report in 1 reading.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Grigsby, second by Ms. McCarthy. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Abstain.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. And we have one item to consider under Human Resources Report, 1 unpaid volunteer recognition. I move to approve the Human Resources Report in 1 reading.
Second.
Moved by myself, second by Ms. McCarthy, I'm sorry, Ms. Saxon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Vaca,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Abstain.
Mrs. McCarthy.
Yes.
It is recommended that the Board of Education enter into an executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, compensation of public employees and matters related to negotiations of public employees. There will be no action to follow.
Moved.
Second.
Ms. McCarthy, second by Ms. Saxon. Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.